Boom, boom. Woo, woo, woo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We are now going to be looking at cover letters. My name is Viana Maya. Welcome to Prospect. Okay, so my director here is, we've obviously lost the plot. Director's lost it. But let's get into it, everybody. Right, last week we were talking about our CV. This week we're going to focus on the cover letter, and we wanted to really go into detail with this because the cover letter is always something that is almost forgotten, is the last thing that people think about. But I think the cover letter is actually the most important part of your application because you can go into detail. So what we're going to do here, we're breaking down the cover letter, each paragraph, what's within it, and then we're going to give you some examples, some tips on how to write a really good cover letter that showcases your skills and is relevant to the job, is tailored to the job, and you've done your research. Okay, so let's get into it. Here we go. Right, so what is a cover letter? We all know, but let's just go into it. So your cover letter is a sales pitch of how you are qualified and skilled for the job. It's allowed you to give examples of how you demonstrated your skills and past experience. It allows you to expand relevant areas of the job. So expand your skills and connect it to the job that you're applying for. And it's a tailored document that complements your application and CV. We really wanted to highlight this bit. It's tailored and it's a complement to your CV. So it's not a copy of your CV. Don't just copy bullet points and repeat it. Or just say, as you've seen in my CV. We're going to go into detail, right? Tailored, complement. So we've got a few tips here, tips for you. Do read the job description. So a job description will actually give you some clues and tips, and they actually help you writing your cover letter. So read the job description, read the whole job, but read the job description. Research the company, the role, and your own skills. See how you match, okay? Or how this transferable, but do your research. Research is really important here. And then tailor your CV, your cover letter, to match the job that you're applying for. Some people say maximum 2 pages. We would recommend 1 page. This way you're really being specific, you're focused in terms of what you're writing in the cover letter. And it's short, you know, so imagine that poor HR person who's probably got 2,000 applications come through, and if all your cover letters are 2 pages long, sometimes 3 pages long, you know, so think about it. Keep it 1 page. Let's try 1 page. Don't tips. Don't repeat your CV bullet points. A lot of people, after you've done your CV, it can be a bit tiring, and then you go on to write your cover letter, and some people don't really see how important it is, so they just copy a bullet point like that person is not looking at 2 documents, right? This is a complement of your CV, so don't repeat your bullet points from your CV. Don't write a novel about how amazing you are. You might have a lot of amazing, great achievements, but pick the one that makes sense to the job that you're applying for. You don't need to put everything in there. The rest of it, you know, if you get the job, you can start dropping that in for your coffee afternoon. You can let so-and-so know that you used to parachute down across some, you know, island somewhere, or you know, keep some of your achievements, but put stuff that's relevant in your cover letter. So don't write a novel. Don't send a generic one-size-fits-all cover letter. We know we all have that. We've all done it. We've all done the dear sir or madam, I wish to apply for the job within your company because I think it's a great job and I'm really suitable for it. As you can see from my CV, yours sincerely, Viana Maya. Yep, I've done it. We've all been there, but don't do it, okay? Make sure that your cover letter is tailored to the job that you're applying for. That's where your research comes in. So let's look into the step 1. We were talking about reading the job description and the specification. So when we're looking at that, for example, if you go into the AI employability website, have a look at one of the jobs. So we've put an example here that you can look at. And in this job, some applications are actually quite easy. So, but in the AI jobs, they break it down with the role. So you can see what the role is about, a little bit about the main responsibility that's expected from you, and who, you know, what does the company offer? What will they offer you in return for you to join them? And then the bit that you can use to help you write your cover letter is the requirements. So this is actually saying what kind of person they're looking for. And look at the keywords. So I would suggest you picking up some keywords. So for example, this says they want a resilient and tenacious individual. Are you resilient? Are you tenacious? When have you shown this? Are you passionate about what you do? When or where? If you have a website, it's great. You can show people that, you know, I've done this and that. You can link it. They also want somebody who can start right away, or somebody who has startup experience. So really read it. That's why we say read the job description. We've had people apply for jobs and they haven't read the job description. You know, they I don't know why, but they haven't read the job description and not knowing what to go for. And also when you do this, it will also help you in your interview. If you've written a good cover letter using the job description and you get the interview, this will help you because you've really got a sense of what the job's about, what you're going to bring to the table, or what they require from you and how you can demonstrate it. And then another point that we're going to be looking at here is the difference between the essential and desirable. As long as you have your essentials, the desirable kind of gives you a hint. This is what they would love for you to have this, but it's also something that you can probably get in an experience. And I would say here, if you don't have some of this, for example, let's look at experience using Adobe Creative software. This is a good time to learn, right? Go have a look at Adobe, see if there's anything there that you can learn and understand it. But really focus on your essentials and then use these bullet points to answer, to demonstrate, to show, to link it back to your own skills, right? So this is why we read this. So that's step one, right, is reading. And then step two, which will also include, after you've read, you're also going to do research. And now you're going to combine your understanding of the job description, the job specification, and then the research that you've done about the industry, about the company, about the sector, and even yourself, right? Are you skilled? Answer the questions, are you skilled to do the job? So I've shown here again. So this is what you would use to draft your first CV. So as I was saying here, I would take this bullet point in the essential, or take the whole bullet point, and then you can answer underneath here if you have any experience. You're a strong team player, outgoing, able to work alongside others. When? Write an example. An excellent problem solver. An example of when you've solved a problem that was challenging and what was the outcome. Pick key areas, pick key things in here that you can talk about. But I would answer all the bullet points and then I'll pick the strongest of my answers to put into my cover letter. We've also got a cheat sheet that you can email us, that we can send you, that you can have, when you're having to write your cover letter for the first time or the second time, third time. But use our cheat sheet to help you here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through what's inside your cover letter to give you a clue a little bit about what, the structure of it. Okay. And I'll go slow. So putting all together, all your research, everything together. So to start with, your cover letter layout. So you start with writing this section here, your address on the top right-hand side with your phone number, the number that the employer will reach you, the number that you put in on your CV, not a different number, the same number. And then you're also going to write the company address and the date of when you wrote your cover letter. Okay. Who are you writing to? So this section sometimes is quite hard to know who you're writing. So if you've done your research, and especially if it's a small organization, you might be able to go into the website and find the team. And from there, you could see who the hiring person is. You could write to that person if that's the hiring person. Or if you've gone through the AI employability website, sometimes they might have the person who's actually recruiting would have a name there. So you write to named person. If you don't have that, you can write to hiring manager or to whom it may concern, as long as you have either one. But I'll start with first trying to see if you can find a name. This will also help you to kind of do a bit more research. You can go on the LinkedIn, you can go on the website, you can read articles about the company if they're startups. Do your research and then you can get the information. So make sure that your first instant is that you're able to write to a named person. Paragraph 1 looks like this. So paragraph 1 is made up of 3 key points. Why are you writing the letter? So you know, I wish to be considered for the role of the position you're writing for, and how you found a job, because that job could have been advertised in Indeed, it could be in the website, it could be in the AI, it could be, or the reason you need to write the position, that company could be hiring for multiple roles. So it'd be good to let them know instantly at that top section which position you're applying for. So it keeps it nice. And it's really short, this section, okay? So here's an example of what it would look like. So this is using my own example. I wish to be considered for the role of business development manager at Drinkbiotic. I didn't write where I found a job. I should have wrote that, but I didn't. But now you know, you definitely should write that, okay? So this is quite oldish. And paragraph 2 is where you're going to expand on your relevant skills, okay? Sometimes the order of the paragraph is different, but we're just going to use a structure that you can use, and then you can kind of play around. So this is where, when it's tailored, the order of this might be a little bit different, but, you know, let's use this structure for now. So you're expanding your relevant skills. When you've done your bullet point and you've answered the question, right, this is you expanding your skills. It means that you can then bring that answer into here and you can elaborate it a bit more. And you keep it short and sweet. So this is just giving a brief summary of your relevant qualifications, skills, and education. If you are currently learning something that will actually be relevant for the job, put that in there as well. Notable achievement, only explain the ones that are relevant to the job. Like what we said, if you've got a wide variety of achievement that you've accomplished over the years, pick 2 or 3 that you're really proud of, and those 2 or 3 have skills that will be relevant for the job. And the rest of it you can talk about, you know, once you get the job, you can talk about that. And 3, use the bullet points in the job description as key talking points. Okay, so here the bullet points will keep you structured, it will keep you focused. It means that you don't start writing about something that's not relevant to the job. It means that you focus on the skills that they're asking for. It means that you've done the research and you're aware of what the company wants, so you can really highlight what you can bring. And it means that you can also look at your transferable skills and see what other skills that the company hasn't thought about that you have, that you bring to the role. Okay, so use the bullet points. So this is a little example of how to write about your achievement or qualifications. So here the person is saying, from my resume, it's evident that the current technical skills taught within the web design development course is in line with the expected skills needed for the role. So it's almost reminded the employer, you wrote this about the role, well, this is what I'm learning and is relevant to the role that you're asking for example. Yeah, and then other achievements have been running workshops that's completely outside of education, but is relevant to the company because they work a lot with women, and this person's had experience with running workshop for women. Okay, and then other skills are talked about and described, and it's really about bringing in that I've done this, and this is how I'll bring it to your company. I've got this experience and this is what I would do for your company. So it's always remembering to bring it back to the employer. But again, it's keeping it short and sweet. And example number 2 here, this is just showing you how you can do the first part of your research or your cover letter to help you write. So this is somebody that we worked with who was looking to get into UX. So what we did with her was to use the bullet points from the job description, and we got them to really write in detail what they understand, what that bullet point is talking about, and what skills are they going to bring. And then once they've written this, it's much easier to condense a detailed description of what you can offer than if you just write little tiny bits. So we could see that a lot of the skills and the question as well can be repetitive. You can condense it. Okay, so the bullet points, there was a lot of repetition with this job for some reason. It could have just been one question, but sometimes employers do that. So you doing this, then you can see where there's repetition and where you can expand your answers, and then bringing it all into a short paragraph. So do that bit of work first. It will make your cover letter writing really fast, and it will actually make it really easy as well. Okay. and your research. Okay, so paragraph 3 is where you show that you've done your research. So this is where you start to refer into the industry. For example, you could say, if you're writing about fintech, do research about it. What's new? What's happening in that industry? And how would you bring that knowledge and insight into the job? Okay, and how would your skills match? How would your skills then support the company to grow if they're a startup? If you've had experience on growth, if you're currently learning about industry growth, how would you bring that into the company? So do your research. Research is really important. I think that's probably something that a lot of people do neglect, is doing that research. And when you do research, be specific with that. Don't just read. Take notes. You know, look at the company website. What have they achieved in the last few months? Have they been in the news, for example? And, you know, what about that story or that thing that they've done that resonates with you? And why would you want to work for them company? Okay, so the research then will give you that. You'll be able to say, from looking at your website, I've seen that you've accomplished this and this and this, and I would love to be a part of this because I am interested in, you know, bring it all back. It's a lot of looping when you're writing this. So there's a lot of, it's like writing your essay and reports and stuff. If you're still at university right now, you know, you have to, whenever you make a statement, you have to cite it. You have to back it up. All right. So don't just write something for the sake of writing it. You want to back it up. Write about how your skills would benefit the company. So we were looking at some words that you could use, you know, so when you're writing about yourself, it can be quite hard not to sound big-headed. So link it up. Things like help. How would you help the company to grow? How would you support the team if you're going into HR? How would you support the company to bring in new recruits? How would you contribute your skills? You'll contribute your skills to engage, to support, to work. You know, use positive words that demonstrate the benefit you bring to the company. And finally, the company culture and values. You know, don't miss that out. Look at that. That will also help you to understand, is this a company that you want to work for? Will you fit into their cultures and values? And will their values and culture fit into yours? Okay, so research, as we said, research. And the final bit here, we just wanted to show you a little bit of how you can quickly write about that you've shown that you've done the research and you've shown that you can fit in. So this person here wrote about how they were enthused by the ethical and sustainability side of the company, which aligns, lovely word, which aligns with her own personal morals and lifestyle. Okay, so bring it in together. It shows that you are keen. It shows that you're a person as well. You're not a robot. You're actually interested in a company. And the last paragraph is the conclusion. So your conclusion, make it a clear call to action. You obviously want an interview, right? So your availability, let them know you're available for a call next week. You're available for an interview. You're available to start immediately or 2 weeks if you have to give a notice. Let them know your availability. That's really important, okay? You look forward to their response. So put that in there. Sometimes you can even write that I will be following this cover letter up with a call. Put that in there. Let them know what you're going to do. Let them know what you're thinking next. So that it's not just, you know, suddenly you're at the end of it. You're not panicking. If you haven't heard anything, you're not thinking, ooh, what's going on? So you're letting them know what's going to happen next. But you are looking forward to something. And say your thank yous. Don't forget to say your thank yous at the end of it. Thank the person for their consideration, for taking the time to look at your application. It makes a person feel good, you know. If they've got 200 plus applications to look at and nobody says thank you in it, say thank you. Don't forget your thank you at the end. End it with yours sincerely. I don't know why my PowerPoint gave me a turkey here, but there you go. End it with yours sincerely and sign out with your name, your full name. All right? So to summarize that, because I feel like I went fast, it was like a bullet train, right? I'm hoping that it's got into your head, but let's summarize it. Read the job description, read the whole job, but read the job description really well. Take notes. Do your research. So research the company, research the job, Research the skills required. You know, if you need to learn something, then at least you've done your research, you know. Use the bullet points in the job description specification so that it keeps you focused when you're writing your cover letter. Proofread your letter. So that is using your Microsoft. If you're using Microsoft, we always use Microsoft here. So use a Microsoft to proofread it. Have it read aloud to you so you can hear, does it sound right? Have somebody else read it, look at it, send it to yourself. And then the next day, look at it again. Okay, so once you've written it, leave it, send it to yourself. The next day, look at it again. Does it look right? Does it read right? Is it strong? And then you send your application, okay? So don't just send it straight away, really give it some time. And take your time, right? So writing a cover letter and your CV takes time. So I would always recommend if you're doing 2 to 3 jobs a day, then that's quite a lot already. So really take your time. Once it becomes easier for you to really adapt and tailor a job description, then yeah, just stick to 1 or 2 a day so that your application is quality, not quantity, all right? But yes, I hope you found that helpful for you. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, please put it in a comment below. Send us an email. We're always here to help. We're happy to help anyone that needs support, all right? So enjoy yourself. Until the next time, bye.